Well, in other news today, there are growing calls for a full and public investigation into claims that South African soldiers were allegedly involved in what I suppose we could call the desecration of bodies of insurgents in Mozambique. A video has emerged purportedly showing soldiers belonging to the SADC intervention force throwing the bodies onto a burning pile of rubbish. Under international conventions, soldiers are not allowed to desecrate or burn the bodies of their enemies. Pikkie Greeff is the General Secretary of the South African National Defence Union, represents soldiers. Pikkie, good afternoon to you. What do you believe needs to happen here?
Good afternoon, Stephen. Well, we believe from the union side that there should indeed be a full investigation. The Defence Force, by their own admission in their statement, already knows more or less when the video was taken, where it was taken. So, therefore, by inference, it should know which troops or which units are involved in this and place them in a position to identify the soldiers that were involved.
It seems to still be quite difficult to get all the facts. There is the statement from the SANDF that you referred to. I haven't seen anyone, I might have missed it, but I haven't seen anyone from the Defence Force answering questions on this and giving a full account. Do we need more facts from them?
I think we do, but we should also, I think, to be fair, give them space to have, I believe that the SAMIM commander, which is the mission command in Mozambique of all these combined forces, is already investigating the issue. And of course, I think the SANDF is waiting for the outcome of those investigations. They do have their own personnel involved in monitoring that investigation as well. I think if we give it a few days, we will probably get to the bottom of the matter. But I think what the SANDF did do in denouncing the issue is all good and well, but it should also be made clear from their statement, it appears that they try and distance themselves, which they should not do. It is very clear that South African soldiers deployed under, even in this mission, under that mission command, are still in the jurisdiction of the SANDF and are still obliged to adhere to the laws of the Republic of South Africa and international conventions.
I wanted to come to that because it's the first time we've actually seen a SADC force. They're in a different country. Obviously, our soldiers have worked under United Nations as part of United Nations missions before. But if a South African soldier is asked to do something that's illegal under our law by a commanding officer from another country, do they have the right to refuse that order?
Oh, absolutely. In terms of the code of conduct of the SANDF and in terms of South African law, obviously illegal order is to be disobeyed and should not be obeyed. And, you know, it's absolutely shocking that these soldiers engage in this kind of conduct. And one might add, it is also the first time, not only that we've seen a SADC deployment like this, it's also the first time that South African soldiers are accused of becoming involved, as far as I know, in atrocities, wartime atrocities or operational atrocities in contravention of international conventions since the advent of democracy. That is quite disturbing.
I've seen some commentary from at least one retired military officer suggesting that it may be there was no other option to dispose of the bodies, that in an area, this is northern Mozambique, where the average temperature is around 35 degrees Celsius, you would have to dispose of the bodies quite quickly. I mean, could that kind of explanation get us closer to what happened?
Absolutely not. The disposal of bodies, obviously, that becomes a battlefield necessity from time to time, as clearly was in this case probably. The fact of the matter is the way you treat the bodies. Nobody wants bodies dumped onto a pile like it's carcasses of animals. These bodies are under conventions. Our forces are obliged to give a proper burial, which means digging a hole in the ground, placing the bodies there, marking the graves, identifying the bodies, by very least fingerprinting them, and marking those graves so that for future reference, after the hostilities have ended, relatives and authorities are able to locate the location of these bodies. That's what the conventions require. There's absolutely no need here for the kind of conduct that we saw on that video. There's no justification for it whatsoever.
Pikkie Greeff, thank you. General Secretary of the South African National Defence Union. Really do appreciate the time.